Okay, so we're back. Time to talk about the second half of Cynical... Fuck. I was trying to say Season 7 Cynical Ass, but I guess I was about to say Cynical 7 Seasoned Ass. Sure, okay. Fame and Misfortune. Boy, what a fucking episode this is. So Twilight sees two fillies, and I think something I heard is that their friendship is magic versions of G3 ponies, and if that is true, like, that's pretty neat. That's a nice way of just showing, you know, legacy and continuing and blah, blah, blah. But a couple of fillies are having themselves a friendship problem. And Twilight is trying to give them friendship lessons, and I think she reads them a couple parts of their journal. She's like, you know, I have an idea. So she and Starlight helps her do this. They make copies of the journal, one for each of the friends. Like, here's all the stuff you wrote, here's all your friendship lessons, your lessons, blah, 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 blah. So each of us has our own copy of all the stuff we did and we talked about. And if you guys are okay with it, I think we should publish it. You know, we are trying to spread friendship everywhere. That's what the map is doing. This, less in a way where it's like it expedites the process, and so we don't have to do it, but, you know, we can't be everywhere all at once. But we can spread everything that we know to everyone all at once. So maybe we should do that. So everyone gives their assent and their consent. So they make, official copies of the journal and pass it on to everybody. And what do you know? Airing your secrets, and it's less that it's about their secrets, but it's, on the one hand, like a character's episode can show them at their best, and it can show them at their worst. And believe it or not, there are consequences to both. So the consequences for all the characters with Applejack, I guess I'll just kind of go in, I don't know what order I'm going to go in. But so Applejack's consequences are, you know, as someone who talks about how, wait, what the hell? Accidental AI features. No! Hell no! Get the fuck off of the screen. We don't want no AI shit here. I went on a rant back in Season 4, Inspiration Manifestation, talking about AI, how AI ain't actual art. Get the fuck out of here. So Applejack is, she talks about how family is super important. You know, in episode 1, she's like, Twilight, I've known you for 2 seconds. You're already part of the family. You've got her talking about how family are the first friends you ever make. And a lot of ponies resonated with that. And like, you know what? After reading your part of the journal, I feel like we're part of the family too. Can we live on Sweet Apple Acres? And Applejack going, I'd feel bad if I just turned all these ponies away, but what the fuck am I supposed to do? You have Rarity, who is being openly boycotted because people think she's a horrible piece of shit after learning about, just, I don't know which episodes in particular, but after some of Rarity's episodes, like, you know, maybe she's not a good person. We don't like her. We don't actually want to give her our business. They deadass try to cancel Rarity, which leads to the funniest scene in the episode where Sparks and Glim Glam go to Carousel Boutique and be like, hey, Rare, you alright? You good? And, you know, Rarity's in the corner, in the dark, furiously working on the sewing machine, like, hey, what are you doing? Why, I'm sewing a gown, darling! And her face is so batshit insane, so demented. It's like, this is shit out of a horror movie, and I can't stop laughing. It's phenomenal. And then when Applejack runs in, and it's like, hey, this is what's going on in Sweet Apple Acres. I need like 100 blankets for all these ponies. And Rarity's like, yes, right away, pony who still likes me. And it's just so mean, and I'm cracking up. With Rainbow Dash, you've got ponies who are barely really reading the lessons. They just want to see all the cool stories and all the cool shit Rainbow Dash did. And they're like, yeah, you're so awesome. I mean, I know I'm awesome, but you know, there are other stories, right, and morals, right? Yeah, but you're so fucking awesome. Like, that's all we need. And even, I mean, as we see here, even Rainbow Dash can be bothered by too much praise, and that's kind of what she's getting. Fluttershy is just told, you learned the same lesson every time. At the end of every single one of your episodes, it was, be confident, be assertive, be yourself. It's the same fucking thing. How many times, Fluttershy, are you gonna learn the same thing? It's just a waste of time. To which Fluttershy's like, Twilight, you don't have to say anything. I got this. Excuse me for being a person. Excuse me for having character flaws. For having something that's been so ingrained in me and something I am genuinely trying to get better at. I am at a point in my life where I have gotten better and I feel better. It was not easy to get here. It is not easy to unlearn things I have spent my entire life learning to be a better person. If any of you could learn a life-altering lesson once or twice and genuinely be all the better for it and never relapse into your own ways, I commend you for doing so. I would like you to come forth and tell me if that is the case. And if that is not the case, here's my back, get the fuck off of it. To which their response to that is, you know, I think I kind of liked her better when she was shy. And with Pinky, people just laugh anytime she says anything, like they don't take her seriously. Like, she's the funny one, and she'll literally say anything like, hi, and people start laughing, which does lead to one funny scene where, I think it's Berry Punch specifically, but it's someone's like, man, she's even funnier in person. We've known each other for years. And then they start laughing at her complaining about that. And by the end of the episode, everyone goes to the castle. They're like, by the way, something that's very and it's like, I get it. We only had like 22 minutes. There's a lot going on anyways. It feels like a missed opportunity that no one talks about Spike, given how I feel like, and again, I'm just speaking for myself, but how controversial a lot of his episodes seem to be. And given how I know how controversial of a character Starlight is, the fact that she gets out of this episode completely unscathed is either A, we did not have enough time to throw in something for Starlight, or two, boy, like, as much shit as we talked about here, this is the one thing we had to avoid with a 10-foot pole. But with Sparks, she's told that, hey, I think your character would have been more interesting if you never moved here and you stayed in Canterlot, and also people saying you're more interesting before you got your wings. So after all that, and you've got people and ponies in front of the castle being like, yeah, Fluttershy's the best one, or like, no, Rainbow Dash is the best one, and all that shit. The main six give this song, I believe it's called Flawless, or We're Not Flawless, something like that. It's the We're Not Flawless, we're a work in progress. Where essentially they're saying it's like, hey, we have our problems. We are well aware of that. None of us are perfect. None of y'all are perfect, and that's okay. Because we get better. Our flaws are part of what makes us who we are. Flaws are what make us interesting. And the six of us are able to be friends in spite of our flaws. They are not things that make us incompatible. They're what make us unique. And we love each other in spite of our flaws, and sometimes we love each other because of our flaws. And if you got a problem with that, get the fuck out. And then the crowd is still like, being assholes. Like, that's the end of the episode. So, first off, I really do like the Flawless song. I think it's very catchy. I think it's great. I love how everyone gets their own verse. There's a line in Rainbow Dashes that has been kind of stuck in my head for the past few days. And it's the, she's talking about, like, people say, I don't remember exactly how it starts. People say I'm, like, cocky and arrogant. I have an ego as big as a whale. But my courage gives, it's like, all of it, it gives me the courage to fail. And that's a line that's been stuck in my head. I'm like, I really like that. I'm not afraid to fail. I'm brave enough to do so. I know that I can try anything. I'm not afraid to put myself out there and try something new or do something I love. And if it blows up in my face, it doesn't make me any less of a person. My ego, my confidence is strong enough to withstand that kind of damage. And like, I like that. That's just fucking neat. I really, really liked the song. The episode as a whole, it is by far the most cynical, mean-spirited episode in the season. It might be the most mean-spirited, cynical episode of the whole ding-dang show. Maybe something like Ne'er-Do-Well, because Ne'er-Do-Well is up there, but wow. And this definitely feels like an episode that is the writers poking fun at a lot of criticisms of the show. The fact that Fluttershy's episodes feel like they all kind of have the same moral and message. The fact that some people really think Twilight was way better before she got her wings. Some people being very critical of Rarity. Shit like that. And I feel like if you view this episode as more kind of tongue-in-cheek, like the writer saying, we understand you guys have a lot of criticisms of the characters, of the show, of what we do, and that's fair, that's valid, we're still gonna poke a little bit of fun. You know, it's like we're still doing the best we can. We as the writers, we're not flawless either. We're getting better. We're working at it. And, you know, we will always keep working and trying to get better. We need to vent a little bit. Let us have our venting session. But genuinely, fans, we love you. And I feel like if you look at the episode through that lens, as mean as it is, it's still pretty fun and it's really entertaining. If you view it as fans, this is you. You are insufferable. You are annoying. You are never satisfied. We are giving you a product. We are giving you a service by writing the show that you like. Here's our back. Get the fuck off of it and shut up. And I feel like if you see it through that lens, this is probably one of the most offensive episodes. Personally, I'm more of the former. I see it as like a very tongue-in-cheek, like, okay, like, sometimes people can be a little annoying. We love you, but you can be a little annoying. Let us vent for a second. And I can appreciate how fucking funny this episode is. I'm gonna be honest, I really loved it. Like, I get it. I get why people don't like it. And like I said, I usually don't love these mean-spirited episodes, but fuck, this one was so entertaining. And I think for me, a lot of it is just that scene with Rarity is so, like, it has that amazingly funny scene with Rarity, and the song is 10 out of 10. And I just feel like Fluttershy owns every second of screen time she gets this season. You really do see how much she's grown. And the fact that she is able to look at these ponies and say, hey, I'm glad I had all of those lessons. I'm glad that my friends didn't give up on me. That they only tried. They're like, all right, we tried it once, maybe twice. She hasn't gotten it, whatever. I am glad they stuck. Like, it's the kind of thing that does make me feel like this is very tongue-in-cheek. It's very appreciative. We are so glad that you guys have stuck with us. And we have gotten better, and our characters have gotten better. We have seen them grow. We've seen them flourish. And I just really, really like that. So this is Triple Threat. This is Spike invited Ember to come to Ponyville for like a pony dragon hangout session thing, and coincidentally invited Thorax on the same day. So he's like, oh shit, well, Ember and Thorax could probably never be friends because they're very different people. So I shouldn't tell them that I invited them both on the same day. Like, whoops, my bee. Let me just hang out with... Let me have 2 prom dates at the same time. Let me hang out with you and then sneak away to hang out with you and sneak away to hang out with you. Basically, it's like the 3rd act of Sweet and Elite for the entire episode. But whereas with Sweet and Elite, I feel like it's this genuinely really interesting conflict of someone saying, I want to spend time with my friends, partially to keep up appearances, but also because I fucking care about my friends. But at the same time, there is an incredibly important social event that I need to go to for my career. And I feel like with all of the groundwork I have been laying, like I have been sowing, it is time to reap. If I don't go to this, I'm gonna reap nothing. Like, it would completely fuck me over. There's a really interesting dilemma here. And again, the way it's solved with Twilight saying, you're my friend. Do what you gotta do, and I will be here after is beautiful. This is just Spike saying, man, what if they don't like each other? Like, oh my god, it could, like, start a war and blah, 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 blah. Like, this feels dumb. This is, like, really dumb. I mean, it's kind of funny in some points. Like, okay, so Ember being casually racist to Starlight. I mean, like, yeah, hey there, Twilight. No, I'm Starlight. Oh, well, I mean, your name's really similar, and... I don't know, I can't help it that you ponies all look the same. I mean, you're basically the same color, and your hair's really similar, and your cutie marks are exactly the fucking same. I mean, I'm right, Spike, tell me I'm right. I'm like, oh, yikes. Okay, this is kind of funny. Like, this is pretty bad, but it's pretty funny. I just really like Thorax. There's something about his voice. Like, he's so endearing. And, like, I don't love the moose beetle. I think it's growing on me, but I still don't prefer it. But like, I just love this dude. I just like how genuine he is with Spike. I don't really have much else to say. Oh no, there is a part of the episode I really like where they both find out that Spike's been 2-timing. They're like, you didn't even give us a chance to be friends. What a piece of shit. And they both leave in a huff. And then run into each other. And give each other some advice, some friendship lessons, you know, creature to creature, leader to leader, and I just really like that. I think the episode itself is fine. It's not the funniest episode. It's definitely not the meanest episode, which is pretty good. It is kind of a whatever. I don't think I would put it here. It's fine. It's pretty forgettable. Campfire Tales. Is that the name of this episode? I'm 90% sure I'm correct. I'm 100% sure I'm correct. It is Campfire Tales. So this is an episode where the Simsa and their sisters go camping for the 2nd time. It's kind of a sequel to Sleepless in Ponyville because they specifically say it's like, yeah, you know, we did this before. We want to do it again. So again, I guess this one's like a year after season 3-ish. Scootaloo's like, I really don't want to be in that cave again because I'm going to be having nightmares and shit, but okay. The campsite is infested with, I don't remember what it was. It was like bees or like flying spiders or some shit. It was some kind of bug. And yeah, anytime now where I see bugs causing shit, I'm like, fuck damn it, Skitter, stop! These are my friends! You don't have to hurt them, Taylor! Oh, I'm really enjoying Worm. The Slaughterhouse Games arc is kind of fucking wild. Anyways, point. They end up hiding in a cave to avoid all the buggos. And the 3 big sisters are telling stories about their heroes. About these legends of Equestria. You've got Rockhoof, who was this very gangly, weak earth pony who wanted to join the... What was it? It was the something helm. I don't remember. But he wanted to join... I'm just going to say the Knights of the Round Table. It's not quite that, but we'll just say that. He wanted to join the Knights of the Round Table, but he was too weak. And a volcano erupted, and he took his trusty shovel and started digging, and all of a sudden he got really big and strong and was able to dig a ditch big enough and quickly enough that the lava just went into it and didn't hurt the town. So he got to become a Knight of the Round Table. And Rarity tells her story about, did I say his name? It's Rockhoof, by the way. It's Rockhoof Mistmane, who was this pony who was very beautiful and very talented, very wise, and she was friends with a princess, and then she left to go to school. I don't know if it's specifically Celestia's. I genuinely don't remember. I don't think so, but she left to go get really good at magic, and then found out her friend became Empress, so she came back, and it turned out her friend, the Empress, had become a tyrant, and she was stealing anything beautiful because she had become ugly in her jealousy and shit. So Mistmane gave up her own beauty and her own youth to make everything else beautiful, including her friend, who became a good Empress afterward. And Rainbow Dash tells the story of Flash Magnus, which just from the name alone, you're like, yeah, that sounds like they would be Rainbow Dash's favorite person. Who was this, ancient hero who fought off dragons, and he had, like, his magic shield and shit, and he was really clever and brave because he's able to divert some dragons and distract them so he can save his friends, and, like, it's pretty cool, and that's the episode. It's just the three of them sharing stories around a campfire. Like, this is actually pretty neat. It ends up being pretty fucking important. Pretty fucking important. And, as is, honestly, I think this is like an A-tier episode. I don't think it's, I would not put it up here, but, like, this is a good episode. I like the lore. I like the stories. I think they just look... I think it's like a Mistmane's fight with the Empress. Like, this just looks really cool. Like, their magic fight and shit. Really solid episode. Not much else to say. Like you and me, let me get some water. To change a changeling. So Trixie and Starlight go to visit Thorax. Just be like, yo, what's up? What's good? Haven't seen you in a while. And they meet his brother, Phalanx. I believe that was his name. And Phalanx is the only changeling who is still a bug. Well, I mean, they're all bugs, but you know what I mean. He's still in, like, his chrysalis mode. And he's a complete asshole. No one in the hive likes him. The hive wants Thorax to kick him out, but Thorax is like, it's my brother, I can't. You know, like, when I was a kid, everyone used to bully me, and my brother would stick up for me. He was also a dickhead to me afterwards, but he did stick up for me. Like, he loves me. He loves me in his own way, but I know he loves me, and I have to pay that forward. I have to pay that back to him. Starlight and Trixie doing their best to have Phalanx not be a terrible person, and it just not really working. I think they're like, hey, I mean, we used to be assholes, and look at us, we're cool now. And he's like, actually, all I'm learning is, like, you two became fucking losers. Trixie is just talking mad shit the entire episode. She talks shit to Starlight, she talks shit about Thor. Like, she just kind of never stops, and like, I love it. I think Trixie's great. I love her and Starlight working off each other. Boy, I know they get a really cynical episode. I think it's in season 8. The one where Starlight sells her wagon. I remember watching that and going, that is so fucked up. That is genuinely a friendship ender. It's like, you just sold your friend shit without their permission after they specifically told you just how much this thing means to them. You monster. But we're not there yet. I'm only like 5 episodes. I think I'm on episode 5 of season 8. I'm still very early in. I haven't gotten to that shit yet. Anyways, Starlight's like, okay, maybe he's a lost cause. Maybe we should tell Thorax to kick him out. And then Thorax like, he's my brother. You know, he's always been good to me, blah, blah, blah. He's like, Don't think I should tell him that anymore. Fuck! Phalanx overhears it, though, and he decides to leave, and they end up fighting a monster, which is this giant mole thing, and they're able to beat it, and Phalanx is like, okay, I can come back, and if people are willing to accept me, maybe I can accept them, and I choose love, and then he turns into a bug thing, but instead of a moose beetle, he looks like the other, like, I think I like the look of the other changelings enough, and, that, again, that's, like, basically the episode, and, like, it's just pretty good, it's pretty fun. It's a Starlight Trixie episode, like, it's an A tier, I don't think it's an S tier by any means, like, it's fun, it's solid, it's good. Then we get Daring Done, where Rainbow Dash reads in the newspaper that A.K. Yearling is going to be done writing, and she's like, not on my watch. So she and Pinky, because sure, Pinky goes with her. She and Pinky go to find A.K. Yearling, who's like, yeah, I don't want to be Daring Do anymore. There have been these articles written about me in the southern part of Equestria, which is where I have a lot of my adventures. And also my books are never sold there. I guess because it would be obvious, which again is like, yeah, the problem with Daring Do being real is it leads to some really weird questions, like, can Caballeron sue her for the use of his likeness without his permission? Because I could be wrong. Isn't there and maybe it was this episode, because this episode isn't quite like that, but I think there's an episode where he starts writing his own version of the Daring Do books and making Daring Do like an absolute piece of shit. Like, he's slandering her name here, but I think there's an episode where he gets more malicious about it. It's like, yeah, like, he's a real-ass person. He can do it. He knows that there's a popular book series about everything that happens. He doesn't take advantage of that? Like, does he ever wonder, how the fuck does A.K. Yearling know all this shit about me? Or does he just know, like, yeah, she is Daring Do, no bullshit. He just keeps that to himself? Huh? Like, how has no one else ever figured this out? I mean, literally, Rainbow Dash goes on an adventure with her, and dead ass, Rainbow Dash is there on the cover of the next book. It's not even, yeah, this is the OC stand, like, legally distinct Rainbow Dash. No, it's full on, no bullshit Rainbow Dash. This doesn't make sense. I'm sorry, I know. I get it. It's a show about magical pastel ponies. Maybe I take it too seriously with all these lore questions. But here's the thing. I have watched over 170 episodes at this point. Forgive me for giving a shit. But it's that kind of part of me where, like, look, I want to take this as seriously as it takes itself. Like, there's a lot of lore here. There's interesting shit. But there's implications to some of these ideas. And I can't turn that part of my brain off. There is that writer part of my brain that's like, if you make this decision, what are the consequences to the world as a whole? Or, like, what are the kind of issues or, like, complications that can arise from this? And sometimes it's, like, interesting shit. And sometimes the show, like, explores that. Like, with Twilight getting wings. Or Starlight Glimmer not going to prison, but still being Starlight Glimmer and being a fucking problem. That shit is great. I love it. Like, we've reformed Discord. How do you reform chaos? You kinda can't. You just hope he reins it in enough to not be a problem, but I don't know. I feel like I don't mind Daring Do the characters. Like, it's some fun Indiana Jones shit. But I feel like almost any Daring Do episode, aside from the first one where she's just a book character, and okay, I did really like the one was it last season? I think it was last season, was Stranger Than Fan Fiction. But again, that kind of played more up the part I really loved about it was less the fun big Daring Do adventure and just more of the fandom and fan reactions to reading a book. And like how the schisms in the fan base and shit, like, that's interesting. This is really fun. For whatever reason, I think the actual adventures with Daring Do are okay, and like this one's fine. It's people who know her better don't think they know her better, and blah blah blah, and Caballeron's trying to slander her name and shit, and she's like, yeah, maybe I am a piece of shit, and Rainbow Dash defending her, but always getting captured because, I don't know, despite the fact that she's Rainbow fucking Dash, and is the fastest flyer in Equestria, and also pretty damn strong on her own, she always jobs against Caballeron's Droogs, and I think it's dumb. But anyways, despite this being a Rainbow Dash episode, it's really a big Pinky episode, because Pinky gets to learn about her legend and pillar of Equestria, who was a Pegasus. Again, something you definitely guessed by looking at Pinkie Pie. And, she has to do this thing where, like, she crosses a thing while blindfolded so she can get to Rainbow Dash that also Daring Do does. And, like, it's fine. I don't even want to say it's fine. That part was pretty cool. Like, when it comes to the pillars and their backstories, like, this is interesting shit. I really like this. And it's fine. Like, the episode as a whole, but, like, that shit is cool. And, like, I don't know. It's probably not leaving C tier. Maybe I can put it in B because I do like the pillar story enough. I think I could probably put it in B. It's fine. I guess I respect it more than I like it. I don't want to say for this because I actually like this one. It's not the main thing about you. This is an episode where Rarity is trying to... So Rarity has a photo shoot in like a day or two. Maybe it was at like the end of the week. I don't remember. But it's like in a few days. About her hair. It's Photo Finish is doing this for like all the most beautiful maids in Equestria. And Rarity's like, she's going and helping different people with stuff. Getting some stuff for the shoot. She ends up going to see Pinky. And a bunch of like silly string ends up in her hair. Because Pinky's playing with the kiddos. She's playing with the babies. With the Cake Twins. So they go to Zecora. Rarity wants some shampoo to make sure her hair is all nice and she can get all the bullshit out of her hair. Pinky wants a remover potion to get the silly string out of Sugar Cube Corner. And you could probably see where this is going. There's a mix-up. So Pinky ends up using all of this fucking shampoo and is like, cool, suds! Rarity uses the remover potion on her hair, and her hair is super fucked up. So she is embarrassed. She doesn't want to go outside, but she does go outside, and she's like trying to still talk to people, but people aren't really paying as much attention to her. She doesn't stand out as much, and there's a point where she asks someone to like make her a commission. It's like, hey, like this furniture, can you make it in yellow? Can you make it in gold for me? And she goes to pick it up later, and the guy's like, hey, I mean, she's not here. Like, someone was like, I'll give you triple for it. Hey, she's not here. Does someone want to go higher? And Rarity's like, but, oh, like, without my hair, I'm not beautiful. And if I'm not beautiful, people don't give a shit about me. And I can't help but laugh at that because it makes me think of SpongeBob. You remember the fucking episode with, like, the nasty-ass ice cream that gave him bad breath? And it's the, we stink, and I'm ugly and I'm proud. But specifically the shit with Patrick, where after Patrick eats it and a dude, like, freaks out from the fucking smell. He's talking to SpongeBob. He's like, I caught the ugly. Yo, it's easy for you, but I was one of the beautiful people. Like, that shit lives in my head rent free. Also, I'm like 99% sure that's the one with the ugly barnacle. Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end. Like, such a good episode. So I'm sorry, Rarity being like, I was once one of the beautiful people, but now I'm ugly. It reminds me of an all-time great cartoon episode. But Rarity is essentially convinced by her friends that, you know, it doesn't matter if your hair is kind of fucked up. I mean, it'll grow back anyways. You'll be okay, but we still love you. Other people still love you. You know, it doesn't matter how you look on the outside. make sure you fucking shine because you're a goddamn star. And Rarity's like, you know what? I am. So she takes her shitty hair, turns it into this, like, fucking punk mohawk, and Rainbow Dash is like, yo, that looks cool. And she brings it up a couple times, like, damn, I really like your new hair. I'm like, is Rainbow Dash crushing on her for a second? Like, did that just happen? Again, it's like, I know how the story ends. She and Applejack become a thing, so Rainbow Dash, she might not be completely lesbian. Like, I don't know, she could be bi, she could be pan, whatever. Was she, like, actively crushing on Rarity there for a sec? I don't know, but maybe. I mean, given the fact that we have God-mandated Applejack Rarity episodes every season, I'm still kind of surprised they didn't end up as a couple. I'm like, bro, their sexual tension is off the charts and through the roofs. Applejack and Rainbow Dash have had, like, one strong episode like that. And maybe a moment here or there. Rarity and Applejack is constant. But, Rarity makes sure that her outside looks as good and as confident as she feels on the inside, which honestly I think is a very sweet moral. I think it's a very good moral. The photo shoot doesn't happen, but her friends are like, actually it kind of did, because we told Photo Finish what was going on, and she was taking, like, guerrilla photographs of you, and you're still on the cover because, like we said, shine, girl, because you're a goddamn star. And that's the episode, and it's so sweet, and it is pretty fun, pretty funny. It's good, it's really nice. There's a lot of A-tier episodes this season. I think it's a very good overall season. Maybe not as many S-tiers, and we'll see how many end up going in there overall. So I don't know. I think season 5 is probably still my favorite season so far. Because I think it's like the S-tier episodes in season 5 aren't just, these are really good and really fun. They are genuine, strong contenders for the top 26. As much as I've enjoyed a lot of these, aside from this one, I don't know how many of these are like, these are strong contenders for the 26. We might still get a couple on there, don't get me wrong. I'm just really not as sure compared to season 5, season 2. We'll also kind of see about season 4. But anyways, getting to the next one. I don't remember what this one is called. I know what it is, but I don't remember what it's called. So let me check. A Health of Information. Yeah, I was not going to guess that. I completely forgot what this shit was called. Holy fuck. So this is Fluttershy's pillar episode about Meadowbrook, who, if I remember correctly, was mentioned in the Cutie map, which was Glimglam's premiere with Aqualia, and how the mage Meadowbrook had all these, like, ancient artifacts, and that's not really what this Meadowbrook was, so I don't know if I'm crossing my streams and remembering the wrong name, or if this is just a retcon, but regardless, this was an Earth Pony, so Fluttershy and Pinkie kind of switched for whatever reason, because everyone else, it's a pony of their race. Although Miss Main has this weird, like, kind of curved horn instead of, like, a regular unicorn horn. It's kind of badass, but anyways, point. So the episode starts with Sakura helping Fluttershy get this special kind of moss, and she ends up getting sick, and she gets swamp fever. And the end result of swamp fever is turning into a tree. I have referenced Fallout Equestria several times in these tier lists. And the whole thing about a pony turning into a tree in a Fluttershy episode as a Fallout Equestria reader is really, really funny, and I will not be elaborating further. But it was appreciated. I don't know if it was intentional, but it was appreciated nonetheless. But Fluttershy's like, look, you would not have been in that situation if not for me, so I gotta save you. I am going to devote myself to saving you. She goes to Twilight. Twilight, you're the research dude. what can you tell me about this? Please tell me there's a cure. So they stay up all night, and Twilight's like, look, Fluttershy, as much as I want to help you, and you know I want to help you, Zecora is my friend, and I love research. We have to get some sleep and do this in the morning. We cannot help her if we don't help ourselves. So she goes to bed. Fluttershy wakes her up in the middle of the night. She's like, okay, I didn't sleep. And so I looked at this book and then cross-referenced this with this and cross-referenced this with this. And then had to look up some other shit. But I was able to find out where we can get a cure. To which Twilight's response to this is like, okay. Number one, like, I'm so proud of you. All the research you did, I've rubbed off on my friends. Yes. Also, Fluttershy, what did I say to you about sleep? Girl, we can't help Zecora if we pass out on the way. Like, you need to take care of yourself as well. But Fluttershy's like, nah, fuck that. We gotta go. So they go, and they go to the bayou. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm wearing my Saint shirt right now, by the way. So I'm like, all right, we're in the bayou. This is great shit. I love it. They meet Meadowbrook's descendant. They read her journal about how she found a cure, and sorry, it's not because this episode is boring. I just decided to yawn. But they find the cure. It's like the honey of these special, like, aggressive bees. Again, shout out to Worm. Taylor could do some crazy shit with these bees. But they, Fluttershy tries to get the bees, and she gets fucked up and passes out for 3 days. Wakes up, uses Meadowbrook's mask to lure the bees away so they can get the honey for the cure. They save Zecora as she's spouting branches, and it's highly contagious, so they cure the doctor as well, and that's the episode. And Fluttershy learned that you have to pace yourself, and you can't help other people if you don't help yourself. And it's weird, because I want to say it's like, that's a great lesson. Because it is. You gotta help, like, you can't always, like, something a friend of mine at law school always used to say. He's like, look, I love being present. I love hanging out with people. I love spending time with people, volunteering, all that kind of shit. I adore it. There are times when I just need to recharge. It's like, I'm like a cup. I'm like a bucket. I pour a little bit of water out. I pour a little bit of water out. I pour a little bit of water out. There's only so much water in my bucket, and there are times when I need to refill that bucket. Once I do, I can go back to pouring it, and I love pouring it, but sometimes I gotta refill. That's what the moral is about, and I think that's a very good moral. In the context of the episode, though, with Twilight saying, hey, Fluttershy, to use a Ruby phrase, I'm not telling you to stop, I'm telling you to slow down. Zecora is dying? Like, they don't say that, but like, this is a disease with no known cure, and it's highly contagious, and it seems to be, like, progressing quickly. We kind of don't have room to relax. And it seems like, I mean, they got there in time, even with Fluttershy sleeping for a few days. So yes, if Fluttershy had slept normally, they probably still would have made the deadline. But there's also that sense of she genuinely had no idea how much time she had. So it kind of makes sense for her to push it, and Twilight saying, hey, Zecora's health can wait. Like, I get it. It makes sense in context, but there's also the context of, but can it, though? It ultimately did, but you didn't really know that, Twilight. So I don't know. Like, it's a great moral in the context of the episode, slightly less so. Which kind of doubles back to why I really, really like it. Because this is another Fluttershy episode, and Fluttershy is like the best thing in season 7. Just seeing her development, her saying like, no, this is my fault, I am fixing it. Twilight, if you're so worried about me, then come the fuck with me so you can make sure that I don't pass out or whatever. And I just like that. I like seeing her saying, I am going to take care of this. either help, I mean this with all due respect, Sparks, help me or get out of my way. I'm like, it's not like Fluttershy's on a warpath or anything. It's just, she is taking nobody's shit, not even her own. I really like it and respect it. And I would say I like the episode more than I respect it too. So we get another Crusader episode. Yeah, it was kind of interesting. We had 3 Crusader episodes in a row, and then we just didn't see them for the next, 10. But, Marks and Recreation. So the Simsa set up, a summer camp for finding cutie marks, and one of the kids their age, Rumble, does not want a cutie mark. And he gets this whole song about how, cutie marks are ass, and I don't want that shit, and he gets the other kids to go with him to his camp where they don't get their cutie marks. They can be blank flanks forever, and there's this one girl who gets a cutie mark in haikus, but she just wants to draw circles all day. And I don't know why the drawing circles thing made me laugh, but it really made me laugh. I was like, this is so endearing. You draw them circles, kid. That's what makes you happy. I want you to draw circles all day, and I don't know if you can do it in a 5-7-5 syllable structure. That all the better. Oh, I need some more water. Shout out to Sonny. I don't know. That's just the water that I was drinking today. I guess I just want to give him a shout out. What else happens in this fucking episode? Oh yeah, so the reason Rumble doesn't want a cutie mark is basically Bloom and Gloom, a lot of Apple Bloom's fears. I don't want to get a cutie mark in something I fucking hate. Or it's I know what I want. My brother is a Wonderbolt, because Thunderlane becomes a Wonderbolt. If you don't remember, Thunderlane is the pony that had the cough from Hurricane Fluttershy, and Rumble was his little brother. It's my brother is now a Wonderbolt. I want to become a Wonderbolt. I want to be a really great flyer. The last thing I want is to get a cutie mark in something else, because it means I won't be a great flyer. And the Crusaders he doesn't explicitly give that reason. But he's I don't want my fucking cutie mark. They're well, just because you get a cutie mark in something else, doesn't mean you can't do other things. Oh yeah? So tell me, what other shit do you guys do? At one point, Apple Bloom tells us, I love making potions with Zecora. Cool. When was the last time you did that? I don't know. And to be honest, he actually kind of brings up an interesting point. It does seem once you get your cutie mark, again, I've been reading Worm, so bear with me. It's not a triggering event, because it's not you get your cutie mark at the worst part of your life where everything has gone to shit or anything. But it kind of makes me wonder, are there times where getting a cutie mark does change a pony's psychology a bit? We see, Trouble Shoes. Trouble Shoes was someone who always really liked the rodeo. And his cutie mark is essentially you're a goofy fuck, go be a rodeo clown. But after getting his cutie mark, while he wasn't participating in rodeos, he couldn't stay away from them. And it's I've always liked the rodeo. Did his cutie mark kind of keep pushing him to go back? He had to. He just didn't really know why, but he knew why, because he liked it. But his cutie mark was you need to be here. You'll go fucking do something. It's the Crusaders. They become consultants. Is it just because hey, we have our marks in it, we should try to do this more? Or is their cutie marks, are their cutie marks compelling them to do so? It's a genuine question. I was there's maybe something interesting there. Sure, you can do other things, but how likely are you to do other things? Because we don't, we've seen Big Mac play D&D one time, how many times do we see him do things besides apples? Apparently, Starlight likes to fly kites, and I did watch another episode in season 8 where she does fly a kite. So I know I was like, this is kind of cute, but does this really ever come back? It did. It totally did. Actually, I think that was from season 6, not season 7. But I was like, it did come back. I gotta bring that up. I gotta be honest. It's like, it is something I kind of thought about. I was like, it feels like Rumble is supposed to just be a straw man, and I can see it, but there's maybe some credit to what he's saying. I don't know. I just think that's pretty interesting. I think the song is not the best, but it's kind of fun. That's kind of what I think of the episode. Like, it's not the best, but it's kind of fun. I would give it a B. Like, I think I respect it more than I like it. I think it's pretty alright. The Crusaders were basically B tiers with one... No, it was this season, because it was this episode. This is the one with flying the kite and shit, right? It's Ben Franklin with the key and the kite. You see it, right? Yeah, that's right, because the mod episode last season was the Gift of the Magi parody, because the Glim Glam Starlight... That's the same person. The Glim Glam mod episode was not in season 6, it was season 7. Boom, kite. Okay, everything coming back. I really want to talk about this episode. Just seeing Pinky staring there, like sitting there staring at me, I'm like, yeah, I can't wait to get to that crazy shit either. We're so close. So Once Upon a Zeppelin. Pinky, fuck, I do want to talk about that episode. Sparks' parents, who get full ass, like, speaking lines and personality for the first time. Because while they do technically talk in an earlier episode, each of them gets a line in the crystalling. Here, like, they actually get to be people. Like, this is cool! We get to meet the parents! Yay! Fucking Meet the Parents, what a film. Okay, I said Meet the Parents. I was thinking Parent Trap when I said it. Like, I was like, yeah, Meet the Parents, and I was thinking of two Lindsay Lohans. Two totally different movies, but I love Meet the Parents, and I love Parent Trap. Anyway, his fucking point. Twilight's parents win a vacation on a Zeppelin. Here, you get to go on a nice cruise, and, like, they're bringing the whole family. And Twilight's like, okay, I'm really fucking busy. I would love to go hang out with the family, but I can't. And Spike says, say no more, I got you. To which Twilight says, no, Spike, you're my family too. You're just as much my family as my parents and my brother. I can't leave you behind. To which Spike tells her, I can't hear you. You're on vacation. I'm like, that's so endearing. I love that. Spike just being a fucking homie. Oh, speaking of Spike, hold up. Something from this episode. There's a bit when Fluttershy first goes to the castle to talk to Twilight. Spike and Twilight are baking, and it's one of them is baking like cauliflower or something, the other's making something else I don't remember. And they're like, hey Fluttershy, while you're here, the two of us have been talking shit about whose dessert is better. Can you try it? And then she's like, yeah, whatever, I don't care, we gotta deal with this. So they deal with that. And the next day, when Twilight and Fluttershy are gonna go on their adventure, Fluttershy says, by the way, I packed all of these fucking desserts, and they were all Spike's dessert, and Twilight's like, oh, you didn't pack mine? No, like, there were none there. And then Spike's like, yeah, by the way, Twilight, I ate all your fucking desserts. They were delicious. It's like, I'm not going on your adventure. I'm going to sleep. Shout out your desserts. They kicked ass. I'm like, this is a fun scene. I really love the brother-sister dynamic that they really have it this season. It's great. Spike, I mean, how many episodes did he get? These aren't Spike episodes. No. Just, he was not in this, and I could tell. Even this is an episode about Rarity and like the outside beauty and the inner beauty. Spike is there, but he didn't really get to do anything, and that really would have been a great Spike episode. He definitely has a good role here. I think this really was like the one Spike episode. It was, I mean, usually he'll get like one, maybe two a season anyways, but yeah, his episode was alright, but Spike's been a really good supporting character this season. Anyways, Zeppelin family. So Twilight goes with her family, and her mom just wants to do crazy shit like go barrel riding off Niagara Falls. Her dad just wants to fucking play bingo. And, like, her dad seems like he's just as anal and, like, organized and shit as Twilight. I'm like, that's where she gets it. That's wonderful. And her mom's where she gets the adventurous side. This is lovely. Shining Armor gets air sick and is, like, constantly nauseous. Like, bro, why do they just keep clowning on my boy every chance they get? It's great. I think it's hilarious, but poor Shining Armor, man. Justice for Shining Armor. So, the cruise was a ruse by one Iron Will, because this is the return of Iron Will, who his plan was, I am going to make a cruise dedicated to Twilight Sparkle and people spending time with her. So I sent a thing to her parents saying, you want a free cruise? Here's the catch. And the catch is there in the contract, and her mom signed the contract without reading it. And Iron Will tells them, he's like, okay, look. You signed it without reading it, that's on you. However, if you don't want to do the things I have planned for you to hang out with all the ponies on this cruise that are here for you and your family, you don't have to do it. I will rip up the contract. However, a lot of people are going to be disappointed because they showed up with the intention of seeing you and hanging out with you, which was there in my contract that I gave your parents. And it's like, I don't know how fine print it was because we don't see the contract, because it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I mean, mutual assent and consideration, and I mean, if there was fraud in the inducement or there was any kind of misrepresentation on his part, then that is a problem. You know, you can sue him and try to get the contract, not voided, but you can get it rescinded. But at the same time, you know, if it's very clearly there in the contract and they just didn't read it, I mean, there's technically no mutual assent because they didn't get agreed to the terms, but a court would not adhere to that. They'd be like, no, you didn't fucking read it. That's on you. I mean, also, there's no real consideration either. Well, that's actually interesting. Because they're not giving anything up. It's a prize that they're accepting. So it's more like a conditional gift, which is explicitly not a contract. It's not promissory estoppel. I'm sorry, like, I'm actually trying to think of this as a lawyer. I'm like, hold on a second. They didn't give up anything. Because, I mean, you can make it, like, because they won it in a contest. So the consideration, if it was a regular contest, like a sweepstakes, is, I am paying X amount of money to enter on the hope that I get the thing. And then if I do get the thing, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's like my payment... The payment I did to enter the sweepstakes, I would argue that is my consideration. But they didn't do that. They just kind of got the prize. So there is no consideration that they're giving. I mean, service is a consideration because it can be money for money. I mean, money for money wouldn't make sense. It'd be money for a product or money for a service. But they are not the ones providing the, like, they're getting this for free, so the parents aren't giving any money. They didn't put any money to get into this in the first place. They are not providing the service. Twilight is providing the service. But Twilight is not the one who signed the contract. It is they signed the contract essentially for Twilight without her knowing, which would be fraudulent. That would not be fraud in the inducement. That'd be fraud in the execution. So... the contract is bullshit. I'm sorry, but I was like, I actually have to think about this and talk this out. It's been a while since I studied contract law, but, that sounds right to me. Anyways, So Iron Will's like, we can tear up the contract, which now thinking about it, it's, well, the contract's kind of bullshit anyway. So he's like, but look, Sparks, people are here because they want to work with you. So then he makes her a deal, so they make a contract. So again, a contract does not have to be written, it can be oral. Boy, now I'm thinking about that too. If it involves property, it has to be written down. This does not involve property, so it's fine. If it can take longer than a year, then it has to be written down. This is going to be for only like a day or two, so it's fine. There might be something else for the statute of frauds, but I know it's those two things specifically. Anyways, point. They make a side contract, and it's an exchange of services. If you do the shit I ask you to do, then I will make sure your family has a fun cruise. And like that, they will not be bothered. You're the only one that's going to be bothered. And Twilight says, I agree. I will give you my services in exchange for that promise. So that they do that. Iron Will does uphold his end of that deal. The rest of her family is able to have a good time. Twilight has to do a bunch of shit. She has to oversee races. She has to oversee bingo. There's a dude who wins the grand prize raffle, which is you get to spend the cruise with Twilight and her family as an honorary part of the family. And her family, especially her dad, is just super welcoming to the guy. And Twilight's like, I don't need a fucking shadow. I'm going to deal with shadows here in a bit. I don't need a shadow right now. It's pretty funny. Again, it's pretty mean and cynical, but it's entertaining enough. The one thing Twilight wants to do with her family is at sunset, she wants to see basically she wants to see the northern lights. I think it's the northern stars is what she says, but she misses it by a little bit. And she's really mad, and she goes off. She's like, you guys are having the time of your life. I'm not able to do shit. I'm stressed. I'm frustrated. I'm missing out on everything. And I know I said, like, this was my terms of the deal so you guys could have a good time. But I'm still human. I'm allowed to be frustrated, okay? I'm still a pony, but I'm allowed to be frustrated. And then she steps on the dude's foot on accident. But then she's like, hey, asshole. If you didn't stand so, close to me, I wouldn't have stepped on you. I don't need a fucking shadow. And then she runs off, and the dude is, like, almost crying because the princess of friendship just blew up in his face. And after that, Cadence is like, I gotta go talk to my sister. So she approaches Twilight, and Twilight's like, you don't have to say anything. I know I'm in the wrong. I'm just frustrated, okay? I've had a really long day. Really busy day. I got to do what the shit that people wanted me to do without getting to do the one thing I wanted. I just wanted to spend time with my family, and I fucking missed you guys. And then Cadence telling her, as a princess, you have a lot of duties, but you also need to understand you need to set your boundaries. Understand what they are, set them, and adhere to them. And I'm gonna be honest, it's something I didn't really learn until I became a mom. I understand if you haven't really needed to have that conversation with yourself yet, but you are gonna need to have that conversation with yourself. It's like, okay, you're right. I'm gonna go apologize to the kid, and then I'm gonna tell Iron Will to go fuck himself. So she apologizes to the dude. He's like, hey, you can still be an honorary member of the family. That's okay. And they go tell Iron Will to go fuck himself. And basically everyone else on the Zeppelin's like, wait, like, we thought Twilight was totally cool with, being the theme of the cruise. If you're taking advantage of her, Iron Will, you're an asshole. To which Iron Will's like, okay, I mean, if the princess doesn't want to do this, that's fine. It's in the contract. I'm not guaranteeing that, but no refunds. And then he jumps off the Zeppelin and then just uses his parachute to get away safely, and it's pretty funny. And the episode ends with Twilight's family doing their own version of the Northern Stars, where they're dressed in, like, cardboard cutouts, and it's adorable, and this episode is great. I really liked it. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, it was gonna be an A-tier episode anyways. I'm like, okay, the fact that I had to just actually sit down and say, I need to do an analysis real quick. Is this a legal fucking contract? No, I don't believe so, because the parents had no consideration to give. Oh, that was really fun. It's like, okay, you're an S. I don't think you're an S. This is a very good A tier episode. Then we get this insane shit. We get secrets and pies. It's all secrets and lies with these ponies. But here it's secrets and pies with these ponies. I need some water. I need a drink. To talk about this shit, I need to get fucked up on some dihydrogen monoxide. Let me finish this bottle. Bottle finished. I think I brought it up before. It is so hot in this room. That's why I'm like, bro, this water tastes so good right now. It's so refreshing. Secrets and pies. So in this episode, Pinkie Pie is convinced that Rainbow Dash does not actually like pie. And despite the fact that Pinkie has been making pies for her for years, she realizes, wait a second, I've never actually seen Rainbow Dash eat one of my pies. Because she'll be like, hey, Pinkie, what's that? And then I'll turn away, and then I'll look back, and Rainbow will go, that was, I guess it was nothing, but that pie was everything. That's actual dialogue, too. It's great. She's like, that's weird. And that pie right there, that looks exactly like the pie I spent all night on because Rainbow Dash would appreciate it and I wanted to give it to her to make her happy. And she literally took my work and threw it away. That's devastating, but I want to make sure I'm right. Like, I mean, I don't want my feelings hurt, but I also don't want to be fucking lied to by one of my best friends. So she starts going through it in her head, like, I've never seen her eat one of my pies. What the fuck? So it's like, I'm gonna check. I don't think she actually likes pie. I'm gonna figure this out. And she gets more and more obsessed and more just deranged. And you just see Rainbow Dash and, like, the way she is getting rid of pies. And it becomes very clear, at least halfway through the episode, if not sooner, that, yeah, Pinkie is not crazy. This is not a party of one scenario where she has a crazy crackpot conspiracy theory about her friends secretly hating her, and she's wrong. She's dead on. And then you just get this lengthy part of the episode. It's like maybe a third of the episode of Pinkie trying to give Rainbow Dash pies and Rainbow Dash's ways of getting around it. And at one point, Pinkie is just staring at her and refusing to blink. And then she just, like, licks both of her eyeballs to keep them moisturized so she doesn't have to blink. And Rainbow's like, okay, like, I don't know. Do I want a big bite or a small bite? What should I do? And then Pinkie blinks. And in the fraction of a second it takes her to blink, Rainbow Dash does all of this shit to get rid of the pies. And you're like, yeah, I just decided to take a big bite. Thank you so much, Pinkie. And Pinkie's like, what the fuck? She gets so mad. Oh, it's great. By the time the episode ends, like, Rainbow Dash gets outed and everyone else is just kind of like, what the fuck, Rainbow Dash? Like, you've actually been lying to her for years? What else have you been lying to us about? And it's specifically Applejack who calls her out on that, which on the one hand, like, element of honesty, I get it. On the other hand, her girlfriend's like, what else are you not telling us? Is there something you're not telling me? And she's like, no, I mean, that's off the top of my head. Like, I don't think so. I just don't like pie. I think pie's not good. I've never had a pie and liked it. I'm sorry, but I don't want, like, Pinkie does all this shit for me, and it's too much, man. You know, it's like my parents. It's too much. But, I mean, I appreciate her. Like, the fact that she does all this shit to make me happy is nice. And I pretend to eat and enjoy the pies because I know she likes seeing me happy. I am lying to her to make her happy. Is that so bad? I mean, it's not so good, Dash. And now she knows, which is just making her feel worse. You should apologize. So she goes to apologize, and Pinky's like, fuck off. I'm still mad at you. And then Rainbow Dash makes this giant pie of, like, sludge and concrete. She's like, to make it up to you, I will eat this shit. Pinky's like, no, I can't let this happen. We're good. And she's like, if there's ever something that you need to be honest with me about, just tell me, okay? Okay. So they hug, and she's like, Pinky, your hugs are too tight. No, they're not. And then that's how the episode ends. I'm like, I'm not sure what Pinky means by that, because there's two ways I could see it. One way is like, hey, let me have this, okay? It's like, no, my hugs are not too tight because I'm just a very affectionate person, and part of my love language is hugs. Part of my love language is hugs. Part of it is also pies, and if you're not going to let me do it through that, you can let me do it by hugging you. The other way to interpret that is like, Pinky, you're hugging me really tightly. Yeah, I know. I'm doing it on purpose because I'm still mad at you. And this is letting me get out my frustration in a sort of healthy way. No, it's not too tight. I'm like, I don't know. I kind of see it like that. Pinky's a little I mean, Pinky's always been psychotic. That's kind of been the point. Party of One happened. But I've noticed, like, in an early episode of Season 8, it's the Mudbriar episode, I'm like, Pinky is just not giving a shit. Pinky met a dude, and instead of, like, with Cranky, where she's like, oh, this guy's such an asshole, I want to be his friend, she's like, I met this dude for 2 minutes, and that's 2 minutes I am never getting back. Like, that does not sound like Pinky, and I weirdly kind of buy it. This is a Pinky who's like, I don't want to, like, I'm convinced my friend is lying to me, and I'm pissed. You get her in Season 6 during, every little thing she does, where everyone else is like, okay, Starlight did something really stupid, and everyone's like they're too hungover to be mad. Pinky's the one who's mad. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know when this happened, but something in Pinky snapped in one of these recent seasons where she's not as, I don't want to say it's that she's not as nice, but she's not as, like, unconditionally nice and unconditionally friendly. If someone is annoying her, she's like, look, this is annoying and I'm not gonna stand it. I don't really care anymore. Like, again, that's the way she treats Cranky versus how she treats Mudbriar. One, it feels like this is this innocent, sweet soul who wants to be friends with everybody. And now it's, here's someone who could not care less anymore. And unlike with Fluttershy, I'm like, there is a gradual buildup to this. I don't know when Pinky fucking snapped, but she snapped, and I'm kind of all for it, man. I'm sorry, this episode's great. I loved it. I was cracking up the entire time I watched it, and it's what made me realize Pinky's a different person now. She does not care anymore, and it's cold. There's this one. Oh, fuck, what was this one called? I'm gonna feel dumb for not remembering it. Uncommon Bond. I feel a little dumb, because I knew the name of this one. I was able to reference it earlier, but I just could not remember right now. Sunburst is coming to Ponyville to hang out with Starlight. He's super pumped. She's super pumped. And she realizes we don't really have that much in common anymore. But he's got shit in common with all my friends. He and Twilight both like to go antiquing. He and Trixie are about on the same tier of magic. And also he really likes stage magic and close-up magic, which is just not my thing as much. I love you, Trixie, but it's just not my thing. And he also knows a lot about rocks and shit like Maud does. And I'm just seeing him hang out with everyone else. And I just want to play, I don't remember what the game was called. Like, Dragons and Dungeons. Like, it wasn't a D&D parody. It was more like a, like, Chutes and Ladders parody. Wait. No. Yeah, it's Chutes and Ladders, or, like, Snakes and Ladders, and the SpongeBob is Eels and Escalator. That's the fucking swearing episode! Where SpongeBob keeps going down the eels, and at the very end, he just... it's so bad! You can't fucking hear over the dolphin sounds. I could be wrong. I believe I have heard that there is a cut of the episode of them just actually swearing, because they weren't just saying random shit. Like, they're like, okay, to make this easier on ourselves, we're actually gonna swear, and they'll just dub over it. I think I've heard that before. I think I found it on YouTube. I don't know if it was impressions, I don't know if it was AI bullshit, or if it was real. I think I have genuinely heard them swear in character. And if I'm remembering it correctly, it's gold. I've heard the Friendship is Magic cast swear in character, and it's amazing. It's fucking beautiful, dude. But, this episode's alright. Like, that's basically what the episode is. And Starlight getting frustrated, and Sunburst at the end making, with everyone else, like a giant life-sized version of Eels and Escalators, but with dragons to make Starlight happy. And it's sweet. It's fine. It's likable. I don't think I would quite put it up here. But I mean, again, it's a Starlight episode, and Trixie is in it, and Maud is in it. Like, I like all the characters in the episode, and I think it's good. I just don't know if I like it, like, it's not as funny, or I don't like it quite as much. I feel like I'm maybe a little more B on it. Maybe an A, but I think B is fine. And then we get Shadow Play. Because I have seen it! I will say, I think it was later that night, after I recorded the first part, or the next day, I went ahead and watched it. So like I said earlier, like, I'm on season 8, so clearly I watched Shadow Play. And I didn't add an F tier, so it's not going in there, and I don't think it's a D tier, so let's just get rid of that. That sounds about right. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it's moving from C. It's a C tier 2-parter. It's a C tier finale. It's fine. Maybe I could put it in B. We'll see. It's not going anywhere up here. Shadow Play is an episode about them finding this Superstar Swirl book that Sunburst finds at the end of Uncommon Bond after antiquing. You get this story about Star Swirl and the other 5 pillars of Equestria that we heard about in these previous episodes. How they came together to defeat the Pony of Shadows, which is something we heard about in season 4 as like the remnants of Nightmare Moon. So it is not the remnants of Nightmare Moon. It's completely unrelated to Nightmare Moon, but it is this shadow pony. And I'm probably going to make a lot of Kingdom Hearts comparisons because it looks like a Heartless. And it's a dude fell to darkness and took this form. Like, this is some Kingdom Hearts shit. And the way Star Swirl acts in this episode, like, he reminds me a lot of Ericus from Birth by Sleep, and it's not a flattering comparison. Where he's like, you know, once a villain, always a villain, and, you know, Stygian made his choice, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like Ericus talking to and about Terra. That's not good! But, so what actually happens, though? Like, so you get this story about the Pillars of Equestria defeating the Pony of Shadows by using this spell that banished him to Limbo, which is the space in between dimensions, so it's super Tartarus. So essentially, they sent him to the Shadow Realm, but they got sent to it, too. And Twilight's like, ooh, I think I can reverse this. I think I can reverse this, and I want to do it because it would bring them back. I get to meet my mentor, I get to meet my senpai, and also, it gives us more defenses against other shit that can hurt Equestria. Against Changelings, Tyrek, Sombra. Like, I saw the shit that can happen in the map episode, or like in like the Cutie Remark in that episode. The more defenses we have, the better. And someone like Star Swirl and the Pillars, that'll help us a lot. So So the part 1 of the episode is all of this, and then to get them back, we need all these artifacts. We got the book. We gotta go find the others, and they kind of speed run getting the others. And as I'm watching this, I'm thinking, why was this not the plot of the season? Like the keys in season 4? Because it feels like we already had our... Where is it? There it is. We've had our... Even though, it's Rainbow Dash in the screen cap. It's like we've had our Pinky episode of her getting her... about her pillar and her doing an adventure related to the pillar. She could have gotten the thing here. Same with Fluttershy. This I like as it is, but yeah, you could have had Applejack go to where Rockhoof is from. Like, maybe she takes Apple Bloom on a trip or some shit. I don't know. And displays this grand feat of strength that is able to get his shovel. Rarity, because that's what happens. Like, she goes here, and it's really quick, and it's the same with Rarity. And it's like, I feel like these could have maybe been their own episodes. And, I don't know, they could have maybe been kind of fun. And then you get Rainbow Dash. Rainbow Dash and Spike go to the Dragonlands, because that's where Flash Magnus's shield is, and they have to meet Garble again, who is using it as a surfboard for dragon surfing. Why the fuck was this not its own episode? You're telling me we could have had an entire episode of Rainbow Dash and Spike going to the Dragonlands. Rainbow could have met Ember? That would have been a blast. Rainbow and Garble interacting? Because here's the thing. Rainbow Dash was there in Dragon Quest, but she wasn't there in Gauntlet of Fire. She has met Garble. Garble has kind of met her. And while Garble is a massive piece of shit, Rainbow Dash feels like she would be the one pony he would actually kind of get along with. Because she's the piece of shit. Because she's super cocky. She's very competitive. She's fast. She's badass. She takes no shit from nobody. It feels like this would be the one pony where he's like, okay, this one's kind of cool and she's kind of earned my respect. And I'm not saying like you have to reform Garble, but I'm like, no, this actually could have been a fun episode, and I'm mad I only got 3 minutes of this really good episode. But then they go to Ponehenge. And I'm like, show. I get it. They're horse puns and shit. Every pony, I get it. But Ponehenge, I don't know why this one bothers me, but it kind of broke me. But they go to Ponehenge and use all these artifacts as, like, conduits or whatever, and use the spell to get the pillars out of limbo. And Star Swirl's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Why am I here? Do you know what happens when you pull me out of limbo and the Pony of Shadows shows up? And that scene where the Pony of Shadows materializes is so fucking cool. It looks great. It looks awesome. The Pony of Shadows looks like if you took the bottom half of Hades' body and made it a pony. It's dope, and I like it a lot. Also, its first dialogue is, "Mwahahaha!" Like, it's not just an evil laugh. I can hear the mwahahaha. Like, this is great. This is fucking fun. But, there's like a short beam struggle, and the Pony of Shadows leaves, and Star Swirl's really pissed at Twilight for bringing him back. Oh, also, I forgot, in part 1, Starlight is constantly saying, Twilight, this is a fucking bad idea. Because you're playing with... Like, I did timey-wimey shit a couple seasons ago. You're now doing spacey-wacy shit. And if there's one thing I learned from what I did was stupid, and I was dealing with things shit above my pay grade. Twilight's response to this is she's like, I mean... Star Swirl made that spell, and, like, Star Swirl made this spell, and I'm like, okay, first, like, Twilight, that doesn't actually mean anything, because that doesn't, like, yeah, Star Swirl made the spell, I still cast it, and I fucked with shit, and it was a bad idea. Her other thing is, I mean, but if Star Swirl was here, he wouldn't have let you do it. It would have been more safeguards against you doing dumb shit, and believe it or not, maybe we need that to stop other ponies. So again, while Starlight is saying you are playing with elements and powers that are on a cosmic scale and maybe you shouldn't, Twilight does not actually challenge that argument or refute it. And I find that interesting. Interesting. Ironic. But so, the thing goes off, it blows up in her face, and Star Swirl is very much like, you're a fucking idiot, and I'm so mad you did this. I remembered him being very sexist toward Twilight, and I will say that is not at all the case. It is not like, oh my goodness, like, a mare did my spell, blah, 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 blah. It is just, so I did that for a reason, and now you undid it, and I have to redo it. Thanks, moron. I'm like, okay, him being frustrated, like, Twilight had good intentions. He kind of has a point. So, what Star Swirl wants to do is essentially recast the spell, and then Twilight makes a version of the spell where if you call upon the Elements of Harmony as a power source, because you guys are like the OG Elements of Harmony, what is it? It's sorcery instead of magic, strength instead of honesty, courage instead of loyalty, beauty instead of generosity, I think it's healing instead of kindness, and it's hope instead of laughter. I think that sounds about right. They're like, yeah, we planted a tree and a seed to carry on for generations, blah, 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 and that's the Tree of Harmony, so blah, 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 they're all connected. So if you use the Elements of Harmony as a power source, you can banish the Pony of Shadows to Limbo without going back yourselves. Cool. And Starlight's like, do we have to banish him? Because that feels wrong. Like, I'm sorry, this is Friendship is Magic. Friendship, you know, and reforming villains, and this dude was your friend, wasn't he? I mean, like, you reformed Discord, you reformed Trixie, you reformed me. Like, Star Swirl's over here saying, a villain's a villain, there's nothing else you can do. Like, yeah, Twilight, if he was around, I wouldn't have been able to do the things I would have done, and I wouldn't have been redeemed, would I? You would not have given me a chance, and I have made the most of my chance. I'm maybe not a good person, but I am a better person, and I keep trying to be a better person. What was that shit? Not flawless? I'm a work in progress, okay? But I guess that's not good enough for Star Swirl, and I guess if something's not good enough for Star Swirl, it's not good enough for you either. Because Twilight's not really arguing with Star. It's very clear that she's like, okay, this is, I don't really like his plan either, but I'm kind of the reason this shit happened. So, I'm kind of gonna take a back seat to this. Also, when Starlight looks, when Star Swirl looks at her spell to use the elements instead of, like, him as consideration for banishment, he's like, huh, you know, this actually isn't half bad. Like, good job, Twilight. She just has this look on her face where she's so happy, and it's adorable as fuck. Anyways, I'm sorry, the fact that there's Twilight, Starlight, Star Swirl, I'm like, okay, I kind of get what Ember's saying. Like, the names are starting to blend together. So I have to call her Glim-Glam to keep it straight. Glim-Glam asks about their backstory, and the pillars are like, okay, so there was this dude named Stygian who was our Nick Fury, who saw all the shit that fucked around in old Equestria. And we get a flashback of the fucking Dazzlings. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to watch Rainbow Rocks, huh? But we get the Dazzlings causing trouble. I'm like, this is amazing. I love this. So Stygian gathered the Avengers, which was us. And we kicked a lot of ass. We were very strong. But Stygian wasn't strong, and he wanted the power for himself. So we took our artifacts in the night one night, and he took them to Stonehenge to do some ritual. And we stopped him and said, hey, don't you do that. Go. And he was trying to explain shit, but we told him to go fuck off, so we did. And then his heart fell to darkness, and there's no saving him now because he fell to darkness. So then they go to fight him so they can banish him. They use the Elements of Harmony on him, which don't immediately fuck him up. Like, they make a portal and start pushing him into the portal, and he's kind of fighting it off. Like, that's badass. No one else has been able to do that so far. No idea if the Storm King could have. Because even though, like, oh my god, I don't want to talk about the movie. Take a deep breath. Drink water. which I would if I wasn't out of water. But streets just calm down. Streets just loud right now. I don't have to think about the movie yet because it's not canon until we get to season 8, where they spend the first few minutes of season 8 saying, wow, look at how aggressively canon the movie is, even though I fucking hated the movie. Anyways, point. Starlight and Twilight see Stygian inside the Pony of Shadows, so Sparks goes into its body to start talking to the person inside the Heartless. And he's like, no, I wasn't trying to take their power. Like, I wasn't stealing it, I was trying to copy it. And that, yeah, I wanted to be able to use it for myself. They would still have it, and I could have it too, because, like, they inspired me, and I believed in them. And I wanted to be as strong as them, not to steal their thunder, but to, I don't know, I guess to complete the metaphor, like, be the lightning to the thunder, or the clouds with the thunder. I wanted to assist in the thundering. I wanted to help. Not just by gathering them, but by doing the shit that they could do because I wanted to contribute. And they didn't give me a chance to explain myself. They just kind of said, go fuck off, so I did. And they're like, huh, he's not such a bad guy. And Starswirl and them hear it, and they're like, oh, we're bad friends because we didn't let him explain the situation. So they, like, pull Stygian out of the Pony of Shadows. And I was telling Clay, I was like, it's like watching someone, like, pull the symbiote off of them in Spider-Man. Like, this is pretty fucking cool. So they separate Stygian from his Heartless, and they shove the Heartless into limbo, and Stygian is okay, and Starswirl's like, bro, I fucked up, and I'm so sorry. And, like, has to apologize to everyone, and he meets Celestia and Luna again, and kind of daps them up, and he's like, alright, I'm gonna just go travel the world for a bit, see where I'm needed, and figure out the fuck I'm gonna do. And their other pillars say the same thing, and, like, Sparks and Glim-Glam hug, and that's the season finale. It's fine. It's really fine. I was watching it, and as I was watching it, I was like, why am I not getting into this? We got a fucking Heartless and Starswirl the Bearded. I should think this is amazing. This, like, is cool. Like, there's good shit in here, but overall, I'm like, I think, like I was saying, it feels like the first episode should have been several smaller episodes, and I probably would have been more invested in, like, again, it's like the Keys. The fact that each one gets their time to shine, and then, like, literally by the end of the Key episodes, makes it work. I don't like most of the Key episodes, and I'll be upfront about that. But it's building up to the finale, and it makes the finale feel that much more epic and that much more important. And what do you know? Twilight's Kingdom is one of my favorite episodes in the whole Ting Tang show. This one is... So take Twilight's Kingdom, almost... I mean, it's still a very different episode, don't get me wrong. But something that should have, like, the build-up and the scope of Twilight's Kingdom and just not do that. Or, I mean, kind of, but not as well, in my opinion. Focus on these other 6 who are fine, but one of them is a complete dickhead, and it's understandable, but he's still just a jerk. And, I don't know, like, the Pony of Shadows, I think itself, is really cool. I love its design. I love the way it looks, the way it moves. It's not the best or most interesting, and it's like, yeah, it was a misunderstanding that could have probably been averted if my friends fucking talked to me, which they didn't. Like, I think it's fine. So yeah, that's season 7. I don't think, I mean, again, I'm not, like, super into Shadow Play, but I don't think it's bad. I don't think there's a bad episode this season. I think I don't know if it's the first season with more A tiers than S tiers, because I think it's either season 2 or season 3 was the same. Or excuse me, not season 3, like season 1 or season 2. But there's also seasons, like season 2, that's one that really sticks into my head, right? A bunch of S tier episodes and then said, okay, some of these I think are more A tiers. Because it was Hurricane Fluttershy in particular. It's like, this is such a strong episode. It knocks episodes down to A tier. Like, you have to be on this episode's level. And then it has 2, like, top 5 episodes of Return of Harmony and Lesson Zero. Season 2 has a lot of bad episodes to me, but I feel like the quality and quantity of good episodes make up for it. Season 7, there's nothing, like, I feel like the overall, it has the most quantity of good episodes in a season, but when I look at their quality, I'm like, they're good, they're fun, I like a lot of these. I don't think it's as strong as I don't think it's as strong as season 5. I don't think it quite beats season 2 or season 4. But I feel like it is it's a very good installment in Friendship is Magic overall. And I was saying, like, with season 6, I'm like, it's very mid, it's very wobbly. I feel like this is back on track. I liked season 7 a lot. I maybe didn't love it as much as a lot of the other seasons, but I liked it a lot, and I'm very glad I saw it. So, now we'll get to season 8, and we'll see. I'm only a few episodes in. Like, I'm not overly impressed so far. I don't really like the premiere, I'm gonna be honest. I don't hate it, it's just fine. I hope the season gets really, really good, because the next episode right after is so funny. But we'll see. But that was season 7. That's what, I think this was 168 and 169. I've watched so many episodes of this fucking show, man. But we're almost done. 2 seasons, 2 specials, maybe Equestria Girls. Progress is being made.